In the second chapter on federalism, we'll be learning few important questions from the chapter. First, it's a comparison between the unitary system and federal system. And here we will see there are two major main points. First one is in unitary system only one level of government will be there. Even if there are subunits, these subunits are only subordinate to the central government. They don't have their own power. They are there to obey the orders of the central government. And in federal system, there will be more than one level of government. There can be two or more levels of government. Here, unlike the unitary system, each level will enjoy its own independent power. And central government cannot pass orders to the state governments. Then now we will be seeing the major features of federalism. What are the important features of federalism? The first point is there are two levels or more than two levels of government. And second point is that each level will have its own jurisdiction or the powers that is clearly demarcated for each level. And this jurisdiction or the powers is given in the constitution. The fourth point is that the provisions of the constitution, mainly the federal provisions of the constitution, cannot be changed. It needs some special provisions or some arrangement is there, then only the provisions can be changed. Then next is the role of law courts. The courts have the power to interpret the constitution. We have learned the judicial review in 8th standard. The same thing comes here. Only the final authority to interpret the constitution is Supreme Court. Then next point is about the sources of revenue. That is also clearly mentioned in the constitution. So what kind of taxes can be collected by the central government and what type of taxes state governments and local self-governments can collect. That is clearly given in the constitution. The last point is the dual objectives, two objectives of this federal system. There are two objectives. We know India is a country with a lot of diversity. So we have to accommodate the regional diversity. That is one purpose. And at the same time, we have to safeguard and promote the unity. So these are the two purposes of this federal system. So there are 7 features. Then coming to the next question, that is regarding the types of federations. We have 2 different types of federations. So the formation of federation is basically on the basis of the history, how these countries are formed. So here there are 2 types. One is coming together federation and the other one is holding together federation. In coming together federation, all the constituent units or the different units, they willingly come forward and they surrender their sovereignty, but at the same time they retain their identity. Why they are doing so? In order to increase the security. In case of any external aggression, this will help them to fight together against a common enemy. So this kind of federation is known as coming together federation. And then we have the holding together federation. Here a larger country divides its power among the various constituent units. And in the case of first, that is coming together federation, central government will be less powerful. And in holding together, central government will be more powerful. Examples for these are given. For coming together, USA, Switzerland and Australia, whereas for holding together, India, Spain and Belgium are the examples given in your textbook. Now, next question is about the constitutional provisions which makes India a federal country. So, what provisions are given in the constitution? Here, certain subjects for lawmaking as well as for other purpose, it is divided. Subjects are allotted for central government, state government, and the subjects of national importance like defense, foreign affairs, banking, communication, currency, etc. These subjects are included in union list. So here only the central government or union government can make laws regarding these subjects. Then few other subjects are given in the state list. These subjects are of local importance. So local, that is the state governments, they make rules regarding or laws regarding these subjects. These subjects like police, trade, commerce, agriculture and irrigation comes under the state list. Following that, we have another one, that is concurrent list. In concurrent list, subjects upon which both the central government as well as state government can make laws, because it is the subjects of common interest. Here few subjects like education, forest, trade union, marriage, adoption and succession are included, where states as well as the central government can make laws. The last one is residuary subject. Now, these subjects came up after the drafting of constitution, later subjects like computer software. Here the central government can make laws. Then the next question is that regarding uh, the difference between states in case of powers. Some states enjoy more power, whereas some other states enjoy less powers. For that, two examples are given. One is the case of Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir used to have some special powers, but now it is not there, we all know. And it used to have its own constitution, and only people who are belonging to that state, Jammu and Kashmir, can buy land there. Such kind of provisions were there, but it is no longer possible now, it is removed. Then another case is the case of union territories. Here, as we know that in union territories, they don't have their own government. States don't have any power. Here, everything is decided by the central government. So that shows that different constituent units are not enjoying equal power in a federation. Then, as we learned in the features, the basic structure of the constitution, here it is mentioned about the federal structure of the constitution cannot be changed. And there are certain provisions, certain conditions must be fulfilled. What are these conditions? That is mentioned here. At least you have to remember this two-third majority by both the houses. Then only that kind of bill can be passed. Then second condition is that the state legislatures, at least half of the total states, should ratify or should allow this change. So these are the two conditions: two-third majority in both the houses and half of the state legislature should ratify that. Then only they can make any change to the federal structure of our constitution. Then the practice, how it is practiced. That is one, we have seen what are the provisions in the constitution. That is the regarding the different lists we have seen. Now, in what way this is practiced in India? For this, you have to remember three important area. That first one is the linguistic states, formation of linguistic states. As the name denotes, most of the states are formed on the basis of language spoken in that area. After 1947, a states reorganization commission was formed, and with the help of this states reorganization commission, many new states were formed, many boundaries were changed. Most of the states are formed on the basis of language, but at the same time, some states were formed on the basis of culture, ethnicity, and geography. And the second thing is regarding the language policy. you have to remember two important points for language policy. First one is that there is no national language. According to the constitution, there is no national language. And the second thing is that Hindi as well as 21 other languages are included in the scheduled list of languages. That is why we call it as scheduled languages. Any of these languages can be used for official purposes. So these 2 points, absence of national language, then use of scheduled languages for official purposes. That comes under the language policy. And the third one is regarding the center-state relations. Here 3 different conditions are given. One is same political party ruling in the center. In that case, what happens? The state governments will not demand much from the central government, and it is not using its power in that case. So that is not good for power sharing. Second one, it is 2 different parties are ruling in the center and in the state. In that case also there is a chance where the central government misusing its powers, or whatever the state government demands, the central government may not sanction that. So that conflict is also not good for equal power sharing. And the third condition is coalition government. We know that in case if any single party could not win majority, they will join hands with some other political parties and form the government. In that case, they have to accommodate the differences between the demands, and you cannot ignore any political party which is there in a coalition government. So that is better for power sharing. So that is the center-state relationship. So when we talk about the federal practices, you have to mention these 3: linguistic formation of linguistic state, language policy, and the center-state relationship. Then coming to the next topic, that is decentralization. Decentralization, as the term denotes, it is taking the power from the central government and state government and giving it to the local self-governments. And why it is better? Why decentralization is said to be better? Here we should realize that that is actually the idea of Mahatma Gandhi. We know that it is the problems of or local issues, local people will be knowing, and they are the better people to find out a solution for the local issues. So in that way it is more convenient, it is more practical. So problems and issues are settled locally. People have better knowledge of their problems and they know better ideas to solve these issues, and it also ensures better participation. So this is why decentralization is said to be very good for a democratic system. Then next, what are the changes made in the constitution in order to strengthen decentralization? The concept was there, but it was not very powerful until recently. You know that the amendments, Article 72 introduced these changes. And what are the major changes introduced after this? So there are 5 important changes. First one is it is constitutionally mandatory to hold regular elections to the local self-governing bodies. Earlier elections were there, but it was not very regular. And now it is constitutionally mandatory, means compulsory to have regular elections. Second thing is that seats are reserved for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and backward classes in the elected bodies. Here elected bodies means it can be the ward member, the local wards, block levels other than Zilla Parishad. So in all these, seats are reserved for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, and also for the backward classes. Then 1/3 of all positions are reserved for women. So that is 1/3 reservation, at least in the local self-governments it is given for women, though that demand was there for many years in the parliament, but it is implemented here in the local self-government. 1/3 seats are reserved for women. Then state election commission is set up. Earlier only one election commission was there, that was for the parliament election. Now state election commission is there, and this conducts state elections as well as panchayati raj elections, panchayat elections. Then the last point is that here the state governments, they have to share their power as well as resources with the local self governments. So these are the 5 points you have to remember in this way. Regular elections, reservation of seats for scheduled tribe, scheduled class, scheduled caste, then one third reservation for women, state election commission, then sharing of power as well as resources by the state government with the local self governments. Then we have the structure of Panchayati Raj. Here, the basic unit is Grama Panchayat, comprising of many wards, and each ward will have ward member. Then Sarpanch is there. Then above that, a number of Grama Panchayats join together to form block level, and the entire Grama Panchayats of the district forms the district Panchayat. This is the three different levels of Panchayati Raj. And there is something called Grama Sabha. A Grama Sabha is the decision making body. In every ward, Grama Sabha meetings are held, and in Grama Sabha meetings, all voters, adult members of the village or members of Grama Sabha also, they will discuss the issues in the Grama Sabha meetings, and that will be taken to the Grama Panchayat, and funds are allotted for that, and the budget is also approved in the Grama Sabha meeting. So when you should know what are the functions of Grama Sabha, who are the members, all adult voters or members, decisions are made in the Grama Sabha meetings, and it approves the annual budget of the Grama Panchayat. And we have some, so that is for the Grama Panchayats or the villages. We have such arrangement in the urban areas. Here it is municipalities and corporations. Depending upon the population, if it is having larger population, it will be a corporation, and the population is less, then it will be a municipality. And in what way it helped? That is what comes in the next part. 3 points you should remember. It says helped to deepen democracy. Deepening of democracy means there are more participation of people other than the Grama Sabha meetings, and people they express their opinions, they give their suggestions, they project their problems. So that in that way, better participation of people are there in the Panchayati Raj institutions. That has helped to develop or deepen democracy to the basic levels. Ordinary people participates in this. Then second thing is that it increased the women's representation. Not only women, the weaker section of society, they also get more representation through this Panchayat elections or Panchayati Raj systems. Then the one limitation of that is that still, in spite of all these attempts, local self-governments are not very much ready to share their power or transfer their power to the local self-governments. So these are the important questions or probable questions, major questions from this chapter.